All right. Big things popping, as my co-host and I were just talking about. We are in season 4 of MT Jam, more than just a movie. Woo! I'm on season 3. I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead because I was talking about big plans I have for season 4. But we are in season 3. It is September 1st, 2022. We have reviewed, talked about, broken down movies that you love. We started off for Love Jones and Love and Basketball and The Best Man and Boomerang and New Jack City and Friday and Baps and everything that you can think about. We've done it. We did classics like Claudine and Sparkle and just so many different movies. When I look back over the last 2 seasons, I'm like, wow, Leroy, we did a lot. We did a lot of movies, and we're not done because we can never run out of classic Black films, right? So this is season 3. All right, I can't do this without my partner in crime. Well, we ain't committing no crimes. My partner in movies, right?
They know what we mean. They know what we talking about. They know what we talking about.
in this movie. And how we started this show is Leroy and I was it during the pandemic talking about movies, and Leroy and I have music in common. We have movies in common. And I was like, we should talk about movies, but then it's me and Leroy, so we're going to break them down totally different than anybody else out there. You see,
Yeah,
he jumped in his seat. What you going to say?
she no, she thinks she know more movies and more music than I do. That's what the truth
No,
of it is. She
no. You hear what I said? I said that we both, I'm putting both of us in there, even though you ain't know who Five Star
she
was.
I I ain't even gonna lie. She matched me because I'm a music and movie buff.
Mhm.
That's I love music and I love movies and I go way back when it comes to music and movies and she is definitely she probably know more than me because she remember more stuff than I than I do. Plus she done seen and met a whole lot of people. She just talked about who she just met on a whim staying at a hotel. So I'm just saying, you know what I mean? So I know she got more than me. But I
Oh,
love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. And we got a good one today.
all
We
right,
got a
let's do the
good
intro. Let's do the tell them
series, movie
tell them
series
what we
that we're gonna be talking about today.
tell them what we got, and just to say it so I can hit the intro
No,
so we can get started. What
yeah,
movie are we doing to
and
kick
and
off season
yeah,
3 in September?
and and if you don't know this group, blame as Kendéll say, blame your mama, blame your grandmama, and all your auntie, all of them, because you sure enough ain't been in their house and not heard the music of the Temptations. I'm sorry if you ain't heard the music of the
Boy,
Temptations in
can I tell you
in
something,
your
Leroy?
house.
I got a story about the Temptations and what had
I know
happened.
you do. I
What
know you
had happened
do.
was, all right, y'all, for y'all that don't
You
know,
probably used to. What you gonna say? Otis used to babysit you. Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis.
ain't nobody come to see you, Otis. All right, so I have a show on YouTube that I just started called "What Had Happened Was," and I tell my stories. And every time Leroy and I do this show or something else, I have so many stories and so many things that have been suppressed. They only come out with Leroy. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna tell Leroy, and my other friend is like, you should put in a book because I have so many different stories of different celebrities, different things that have happened in my 51 years. And you and Basine are super fan on More Than Just Movies. Say I need to put in a book. So I was like, I had started telling some of them on TikTok. Shout out to TikTok, who I'm live with right now. And we're live
That's
on
cool, cool.
YouTube and Instagram. So I just want to make sure that we are on Facebook as well. Because Facebook, if you don't do it after a certain time, then they shut it down.
Yeah,
Shut it down. They
yeah.
don't play. But it's so interesting because all my stories end up coming out with Leroy. So I have another one, but we didn't even do the intro yet. This is more than just a movie.
I know, right?
This week, it's all about the Temptations movie. I'm so excited. I ain't even doing it. All right, let's get it. Oh, all right now. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Take this off here. I got so excited. All right. So, Basine, thank you. She said, you are sorry. You're going to come on at the end, right? We're going to have you on to talk about this here movie. All right. So we're live now, making sure on Facebook, YouTube. But if you're watching from any other platform, please go to my YouTube channel right now and subscribe. It is Kendéll and Lenice. That's very important because we are trying to grow this show. And if I can get at least 1,000 subscribers, then we can move on and start doing a lot of different things with this show and the other shows on this channel. So if you're watching from any other platform, please go to my YouTube channel, Kendéll and Lenice, and hit that subscribe button right now. And Leroy, you can. You have your phone. I was going to say you can go.
Yeah.
Right now, let me just make sure.
Yeah, and I don't have my tablet. I don't have my tablet right here next to me. I didn't bring it on.
Sure
I put it on my tablet.
You're just gonna get.
Okay.
Just get started. Let's see. All right, I'm just so excited about season 3 because we're kicking it off with music movies. And of course, I know the movie. I'm not going to tell y'all. Basine probably can guess, and Leroy can probably guess, but I know what movie, music, story we are going to end this month with. That's what I'm saying. If you know me, you know.
You know who it is already. You ain't even got to guess it that.
So I'm trying to right now, just give me a second. I'm trying to get it on. All right, I'm just trying to tag you because I know you can't do it right now like you normally do. All right. Where you at, doctor? The good doctor. All right, so should I kick it off with my temptation story or should I wait to the end?
Nah, definitely start it off. Let's kick it off. Kick it off with the story.
Okay, so my mother reminded me of this just this week. She was telling my daughters. Now, my daughters done heard all of these stories a million times. They could probably tell these stories. All right, so growing up in South Jersey, going to the casino was nothing but a thing. I've gone to, see shows. I've gone to so many concerts. Literally, I cannot even count how many concerts I've been to in my life.
Oh, wow.
Of course, I've seen New Edition more than anybody, but I've been going to concerts since I was little. I've seen so many, but one sticks out. I went to see the Temptations with my mom and my brother. I forgot what casino it was, but I was a teenager. My brother is 6 years younger than me. So, and that's important to the story. He's 6 years younger than me. And I can't remember if I was like 15, 16. I was a teenager. I don't think I was in junior high school. I was in high school. So we go to see the Temptations. Well, and then I have 2 Temptation stories. So so this first one is, we went to go see the Temptations. So you know how they call people on the stage. You know how some artists, so they were calling, young people from my memory, could have been some old people on there too, on the stage. So my brother and I got up on the stage and they were singing My Girl. So they passed the mic to my brother. Remember, he's 6 years younger, so he's a little boy. They passed him the mic to sing part of My Girl. Of course, he don't know the lyrics. And they like, whose child is this? He don't know the lyrics. Get him off, right? And they're joking. So then they pass the mic to me. And I'm like,
Lord.
or the cloud. And I know all the words. As a teenager who does in the 80s, who knows all of the lyrics to My Girl?
Absolutely.
Your Girl.
Yes.
So I'm singing it, and then they start clapping. They was like, all right, now that's what I'm talking about. And they start clapping. and I'm singing. My mom likes to tell it is like when they gave me the mic, I grabbed the mic and I was like, I guess. She tells everybody she
uh,
grabbed the mic and Kendéll was singing every lyric. So that's my first, and both of these temptation stories happen in Atlantic City, New Jersey, in the casino. Go figure. Fast forward to when I'm 18, I work for that former president. I don't mention his name. And
you worked at the hotel at that hotel
yeah,
up there?
I opened it up. Yeah, opened it up. Yeah.
Really?
So I
Because
worked.
it's funny because wait a minute, I did my internship up there when
Which
they
one?
opened the big one because he had two of them there. He
Not
had
the
the
first
big
one,
one
the
that
second
they
one.
opened that they opened and when I was doing my internship up there. I worked at the
You did
Sands
do it there. Yeah. Yep. So I was at the Taj and
because that was like 80 because that was like 89 when I was up there.
I
I spent
worked
6 months
there
up there.
in 1989 and 90. So we were there the same time.
90.
I didn't even know. Look at that.
Yep.
Because I graduated from high
Yep.
school in 89 and I think that was the summer after I graduated. So I worked
Okay.
at
Okay.
Taj Mahal. I worked in the box office.
Okay. Okay.
Selling, so I got to see the Mike Tyson fights, honey. I got to see when
Hmm.
Tommy, what was the white guy? What was his
Tommy
name?
Hearns.
No,
Tommy
no,
Hearns.
no, the other one, the young white guy.
Oh, I know you talking. That was in Rocky. The one he was actually a
Yeah,
fighter,
yes,
but he was
exactly.
in the movie Rocky. I can't
Exactly.
remember his name, but I know you're talking about. I
I've
know
seen a
you're
lot of
talking about though.
shows even in that point, and then a lot of fights when Mike Tyson was huge and LL be walking through
Hmm.
the hotel, just everybody, right? I got LL stories, but that's another story. But so in the box office, the show tickets, the stars come in because they want to comp and reserve the seats for their family,
Hmm.
friends, high rollers, or whoever. So Melvin of the Temptations walked in the box office. I'm a young teenager, and he wants to block out some seats for whoever. So I would talk to him on a regular basis, and he started calling me his niece. My little niece is in here. She gonna save it. So that was really special. And Melvin that's the one with the deep voice for y'all youngins that don't know. He was so sweet and so kind to me as a 18, 19-year-old, 20-year-old girl. So those are my two new edition temptations.
Well, their stories are very similar though, and I think people will hopefully see through these music stories or
Yeah,
series that we do the common thread that all of their stories are very, very, very similar.
yeah.
You know, even though we've done the Five Heartbeats,
Mm-hmm.
which was about I think the Four Tops, if I'm
And
not mistaken,
The
but
Dells.
there's the Dells. Okay, the Dells, yeah. But a lot of those groups from back in the day, all the way through to New Edition, their stories are the same. A lot of them are,
Yeah,
are similar. They're very similar.
yeah,
Their stories are very similar. So
yeah.
yeah, so definitely.
It's deep. So I'm so happy that we're kicking off season 3. Leroy, can you even count how many movies we've done? Can you believe we're like in season 3?
And three, and you figure what doing one at possibly I think a couple times we did two movies a week in 2 years, going on 3 years now. That's a lot of episodes. That's a
We
lot
got
of
a lot
episodes.
of episodes. So that means we got somebody's favorite movie we've done already. And we're gonna continue.
Exactly. You know what I'm
You might not
saying?
like that one, but you like this one. And I love doing this with you, Leroy, because we break it down. See, so the breakdown, we call it more than just a movie because when you think about these movies, it really is more than just a movie. It's like life stuff happening. So
Yeah.
we talk about that and we kind of relate it to stories or, other life events. And we definitely talk about the movie, the music. We give props to all of that. So I love the way
Yeah.
that you and I do it because I haven't seen anyone do it like this before. Have you? They just review.
Nah,
Thumbs
not at all. We are certainly unique in that, and like we said I think when we first started talking about this, that the only other show that I can remember was Siskel and Ebert, but
Yeah,
we put our own little tweak on what Siskel and Ebert did. Because I remember watching them and
yeah,
watching them to see what they thought about movies and their
yeah,
take on movies and stuff like that. So when you suggested doing this, I was just like, hey, let's do that. That'd be kind of cool. And like you said, we add a real life aspect to it and
yeah,
how it relates to real life.
yeah,
And I loved we love what we done with all of them, but specifically with Claudine.
yeah.
Claudine,
Oh,
well, I
that was
loved
one of the
doing
best
that.
ones. That was one of the best.
Yeah, to me that to me was one of the best ones and how it correlates
Ooh,
and that and
that
Cooley
was
High.
deep.
I mean,
Yeah,
that
that was deep.
they're classics for a reason,
Yeah,
you know. But those two movies brought back a lot of memories for me. Claudine, to look at the contrast of back then and to see how things haven't really changed. What they say, the more things change, the more
the
they
more
stay the
they stay the
same.
same. Yeah, that's
You
just
know
the
what
way
I'm saying?
it is.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know, so this has been awesome, and it's great that we're going into to a new season, the third season of doing this, and like you said, man, it's a boatload of movies we haven't even touched yet. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah. It's so many. It's so many. And I'm happy to talk about the Temptations, and we always talk about the soundtracks. But this movie
Hmm.
is a soundtrack. This movie is
Soundtrack, exactly.
right. This is Black music history. Black Music Month is in June, but for some of us, Black Music Month is every single day, right?
Every
Every
month, 365. Yep.
365, we are talking about Black music. And we have a good month. So if you haven't subscribed and if you haven't watched, definitely do that because this is just how we do it. All right. So the Temptations movie, let's get started with that. It was a 4-hour television miniseries broadcast in 2 hour half. So it was 4 hours long. It was on NBC. It was based off of Motown's longest live act, The Temptations. And this was executive produced by former Motown executive to make it authentic, Suzanne DePass, produced by Otis. Everybody was coming to see you, Otis. We're going to talk about that line because Leon made that up as they were
Yeah.
doing it. It wasn't even in the
Did
script.
they? Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the Temptations manager, Shelley Berger, he's shown on the movie. And this was based on William's Temptations autobiography. The miniseries was originally broadcasted November 1st and 2nd in 1998. When I was looking it up, because I watch it so often, I didn't even realize it was in 1998.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
That's more than 20 years. I wasn't even, because I watch it so often, I was just watching it like last week. I didn't, because I
Hmm.
watch it often, I didn't even realize that it's that old. So the film was on location in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's where they filmed it in the spring of 1998.
Wow.
Right. It wasn't even filmed in the D.
How, I was gonna say, how in the world they make get Detroit and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania? I don't see that.
Maybe they went to just do the Hitsville scenes there, and then maybe the bulk of it,
Yeah.
maybe the exterior,
Yeah.
or it for that part was in because sometimes they'll do an exterior shot in one state and then do
Right.
the interior. So maybe the bulk of the movie was in Pittsburgh, but of course we
Yeah.
saw Hitsville. So but we don't know how much. This is kind of different than we normally do because we don't know the budget
Yeah.
of this movie, but the running time for each episode was 88 minutes. This was a smash
That,
on NBC. It broke records and people love the Motown era anyway. But to have the
yeah.
Temptations movie, to see the drama, the highs, the lows, the good times, the ups, the downs, and everything that they've gone through. And like you said, Leroy, this is a lot of bands' stories, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I usually ask Leroy, do you remember when you watched it? But like I said, probably watched it so many times. But do you remember the first time you saw it?
No, I don't remember I don't remember the first time that I saw it, but um, but it was such a um compelling story because, like you said, we grew up in that era with, or I'll say the Temptations kind of they kind of cross different generations. They go
They
back as far as our grandmothers.
Yep,
Our
yep,
our grandmothers, or I should say our grandmothers, grandfathers, our mothers and fathers,
yep.
and then even into our era,
And my
into our
daughter and
era.
them love the Temptation stories. They know the songs too. So we going another
Yeah,
generation.
yeah. So you're talking at least 6 decades,
Mm-hmm. At
at
least.
least at least 6 decades. And real quick, I'm sorry, I'm waiting for them to do the story on the Isley brothers. That needs
Woo!
to be done.
That's out of Jersey. They from
That
Jersey. Mm,
Yeah, Audie, that story, that musical story hasn't been done.
that's a
You
good
know what I'm
point.
saying?
That's a good point.
Yeah, because they go at least 6 decades deep too, maybe even seven. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
they
maybe even five. Back in the '60s,
twist
maybe
and
late
shout was out in
'50s,
the
early '60s.
50s. Yep, twist and shout and all that was in.
Yeah, so these, I mean, the Temptations, man, listening to them, growing up on that in that with that music, you know, like you said, my girl, and treat her like a lady was one of my
Now that
favorites.
was in our generation. That's still on
Yeah,
my
that one was
playlist.
ours.
That's still on my
Yeah,
playlist. Dennis Edwards and
yeah,
then, I mean, no, that was
right.
Ollie Wilson. Even
Yeah,
help her with
yeah,
her coat. Let me tell you, some my kids know that because when it comes on, if we're in the car, it comes on that playlist.
yeah.
Treat her like a lady,
Like
lady,
a, yeah,
lady.
let me tell you. Let me tell you, Kendall, this is no lie. Me and my buddy Mark, that I grew up in high school with, and we're having a conversation, and we were talking about how the music of that era taught us young boys how
Mm-hmm.
to talk to girls.
Mm-hmm.
When you think
Yeah,
about those songs, like you
yeah.
said, treat her like a lady,
Help her
all of
with her
those
coat.
songs, yeah. So I know the ladies from that are in our generation, y'all probably know the lines, and
They
those lines that we
even
gave
said
y'all
light her
was coming
cigarette.
from
They even said light her cigarette if she smoked.
she smoke. Ah.
Light a cigarette if she smoked. Treat her like a chick.
So the Temptation song, and of course we would be we would be remiss if we when we talk about the Temptation music if we don't talk about their Christmas album. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
gosh,
It,
silent like with that
they
that
didn't cover that in the
milk.
movie,
Yeah,
but the Temptations Christmas album is that will be forever.
classic.
That's every generation will
Them and
get that.
Donny Hathaway. Them and Donny
Yeah.
Hathaway.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
Christmas right there. So
Absolutely.
let's talk about
Absolutely.
my
Go ahead.
girl. My girl in 1965, Treat Her Like a Lady in 84. Papa Was a Rolling Stone in 72. Just My Imagination, the year I was born, 1971. You had I Wish It Would Rain. That was 1968. Get ready,
Hmm.
because here I that was 1966. Papa Was a Rolling Stone was a 19. They did it again in 1980. Can't Get Next to You, babe. I can't.
Yep.
1969. Beauty is only skin deep. Now, let me just pause there. The words to that song, Beauty or Only Skin Deep, if y'all have not checked out the lyrics or you really just sung and
Okay.
not paid attention, pay attention to those lyrics. Let me see if I can.
Okay.
I don't even know if I don't want to, the copyright. I don't even want to say them, but check out those lyrics to Beauty is Only Skin Deep. One time a few years ago, I was really, and I was like, well wait a minute. Well, what? It's so they're deep. We have all the ones in the 80s, Lady of Soul, but Since I Lost My Baby was 1965, Ball of Confusion, 1970. I Want a Love I Can See, 1964. The Way You Do the Things You Do,
You do.
1964.
Yep.
I mean, so many, and then we're talking about to now. the Temptations, some version of the Temptations is still going live. And Otis Williams is the only live original member. Not even
Yep.
original. Not even original, because Dennis Edwards passed away. Ollie Wilson passed away. Paul, so not even just the original members, but
Yeah.
the ones that made all the hits. Nobody is alive but Otis.
But Otis.
And
Yeah.
he started the group.
Yeah.
Ain't that something?
Yeah. I mean, and it doesn't, that I think that's wonderful that he's been able to, still live, because he's got to be. Is he in his 80s?
He looks great. Let me see how old he is.
He's got to be in his 80s. I'm thinking.
He looks
70s
great.
or 80s.
You know what I wish that they talked about in the movie, since we're talking about the movie? He is only 80 years old. And I say only because all of that success and all of them years, remember, he started when he was a kid. If you were talking about the movie,
all of them.
They all started as children. And
because they were in high school, weren't they? Didn't they meet? Let's talk about the movie, because they met in what's the two that started the Temptations? They were in high school together, right?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, because they were called The Distance. So the movie talks about it chronologically, lays it out from the time they were children up until they were older men, I should say, and start passing away. Because think about back then, even in the movie shows, like, they seem much older than they actually were. So it didn't end when they were old men. They were still young.
Right.
They were still young. So in the movie, it just talks about how Otis, definitely wanted to be a singer. His father was not having it. His mother was very supportive of him. They show in the movie, and he knew at an early age that's what he wanted to do. Everybody was singing on the corners in Detroit, all the quartets. You got Motown right there. You're rubbing elbows with everybody that's been signed, that has a record deal, and it's so beautiful that it didn't seem far-fetched. As a kid, sometimes things might seem far-fetched, but just imagine in that era where everybody, like when Smokey Robinson was talking, Aretha lived down the street, Diana Ross
lived. Right, say they all lived near each other, or within the same, or at least I know, like you were saying, Smokey Robinson, Aretha Franklin, and I don't know how far the Otis and them lived in proximity to each other, but I believe that was close as well too. They all lived near each other and everything like that. So that bond and that friendship was something that came across in the movie too, where you could see as the story gets told, and they go through the different peaks and valleys, and getting into that stardom, and then the things that happen, and bringing on David Ruffins and all of them and everything like that. It was a great story to see the background of who they were. And like you said, I mean, shoot, Motown was it back in the 60s and 70s. That was the label to be on. I mean, when you think about the catalog and the people that were a part of Motown, that was definitely, like, aptly named Hitsville, USA. Barry Gordy naming it Hitsville, USA. Because it was. I mean, everything. Now, were the Temptations, and I don't know if I can't remember if the movie said this or not, were the Temptations the first group to sign on Motown? Do we know?
I think it was from when I watched the documentary for Motown, it might have been Martha and the Vandellas. It wasn't the Temptations. It wasn't the Temptations. We definitely maybe one day we can do a show on Motown alone. We'll probably do that.
I know, right?
Special edition. But we're going to talk about how these men played. In your mind, you thought that they were really Otis, and you had Melvin Franklin, Paul Williams, David Ruffin, Eddie Kendricks, Dennis Edwards, Richard Street. We're going to talk about Richard Street because he was waiting for his time from the beginning, and he had his time. He stayed faithful. Even in the movie, Richard was always like, come through, fill in for this, fill in for Paul. When Paul started drinking and everything, Paul was my boy in the movie. And I'm getting ready to tell you the name of the actor that played him, but he did an amazing job. And I said, Paul, if he didn't do nothing, he was gonna move them hips and sing. But he was so good in the movie. And then you have Otis Williams. So let's talk about who played what in the movie. It was so good. So let's talk about who was in it first. Charles Malik Whitfield, D.B. Woodside, Taryn Brooks, Christian Payton, Leon, Tina Lifford, Jennifer Lewis, Gina Rivera, Baba Tube. You know, he played Barry Gordy. Whew. J. August Richards, Vanessa Bell Calloway, Christopher Reed, which is Kid from Kid and Play, Mel Jackson, Smokey Robinson was actually in it, Bianca Lawson, Alan Rosenberg, but they didn't say Rhonda Ross because she was in it. And I thought that was amazing that Rhonda Ross, Diana Ross's daughter, was in it, and she played Paul's wife. Was in it. I'm mad that they don't have her listed on here.
Give her credit on it, because I mean.
So in the miniseries, based on the book, so in the miniseries during 1964 New Year's Motown party, Alan Bryant is reluctant to perform, and I'm talking about the movie, another encore. Then they start throwing bottles at Paul, so that's how it opens up, and they're at the Christmas party. The group trademarked in the movie the four-headed microphone. It doesn't debut until Edwards joins the group, but they debuted that. And remember when Paul was drinking in the movie, they said turn the lights off. Remember when they had the four and Richard was on the side singing Paul's parts because they didn't want to let him go. And then Hendrix kept saying, if Paul ain't there, he's my best friend, I'm not going to be there. The miniseries visibly Edwards is visibly angered when Ruffin steals his microphone during a concert. We're going to talk about that. Lord Leon, man. Edwards came to get this. So we're just talking about, I mean, it just chronological. It's so much. It's so much. But we're only going to talk about, of course, we're going to just give just clips and parts because we would be here all day doing this.
I know.
But David Ruffin, it shows when David Ruffin passed away, when Paul, took his, just everything. I mean, it chronicles everything. But let's give props to some of the cast. So when we think about, how do you think the casting went? I think it was, my opinion, I think the casting was great.
Yeah, I do. I agree with you. I thought that the every character that the actors played was perfect. I mean, it's just like I can't think of the, I guess the movies that we're going to be doing, the music movies that we're doing. I think each director and each of the casting directors did a good job of casting these particular miniseries. Yeah. And putting the right actors in the right in the right roles.
Yeah.
I thought all of them have fitted very well. And the actors played the roles very well. They played the roles very, very well.
So shout out to Charles Malik Whitfield. We've seen him on different shows. I know he was on All of Us before. He's been on a lot of different shows, but he played Otis. And he did a phenomenal job as Otis. So shout out to him. D.B. Woodside, he played Melvin Franklin, did an amazing job. Taryn Brooks, it's an independent film that came out years ago that my daughter and I watch all the time called All About Me, and he's in that movie. Kristen Payton played Paul Williams, and I think that he did a brilliant job of Paul because each of these had to go through so many different emotions, many different stages in life. They were happy, crying, sad, so they had to have a lot of depth in their acting. And all of them did a phenomenal job. It's easy if you just have a comedy. It's easy if you just have a deep movie. But when you have to fluctuate back and forth and you're now portraying the life of somebody who actually lived and contributed to this music game in a big way. I'm sure it was a lot of weight on their shoulders, but they did amazing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just, and especially it's got to be like you said. I think it's. Do you think it's tougher for actors that play real life people, or do you think it's easier for them to play a fictitious character that
Well,
that a creator or screenwriter kind of dreamt up or thought about?
well, we need to ask Leon, who played David Ruffin, because he played
I
Little.
know, right?
He played
Yeah,
Leon. Be playing
but
everybody.
right, because he played Little Richard
He played
also.
Little Richard, and he was like, remember with his eyes, he kept
He
doing Little Richard. You know,
he had Little Richard
Amy
down
said
too.
Leon is one of her favorite actors and enjoys the
Yeah,
whole cast. And
yeah,
speaking of
yeah.
that, like the famous line is all through TikTok. I've even done it on TikTok. Everybody, ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis. But which was so funny is because that sound was trending on TikTok. His daughter, he and Cynthia Bailey's daughter, they did, it was a rap song talking about ain't nobody. Oh, when no, I'm sorry, Megan Thee Stallion has a song that says ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis, and he comes on the video, and I thought that was so
Really?
funny because with his daughter was falling out because that was his line. And how cool is that? Some of the best lines in movies are the ones that are made up on the spot, and Leon made that up on the spot. Ain't nobody
Wow.
Otis.
Come here. but
Otis.
it fit it not only fit the role, but to me, I could see David Ruffins saying something like that
Saying that.
because of just the man that he,
Yeah.
the ego that he had.
Yeah.
And of course I think when did he die? He died in 80 something.
Yeah. I
Was it
remember when he
1980?
died. Yeah.
Yeah, but we were still young when he passed
Mm-hmm.
away.
Mm-hmm.
But learning about him and his his addiction and his story
He
and
died
everything like that, and who 91, okay.
in
um but learning about his story and who he was to the Temptations, and like I told you, the common thread in these stories is you have that one, and David Ruffins was probably the first one that you see that was like that, because you had David Ruffins who was that way with the Temptations. You
But
had
wasn't
Bobby
he like
Brown.
the same way? But wasn't he Leon the same way in Five Heartbeats? He was that one too.
Yep, yep. He no it would well he no, Leon wasn't that way. It was no
Nice
it,
like this.
in
Oh,
the five, yeah, it was in the Five Heartbeats.
yeah,
It
that's
was
true.
so you now I'm an alcoholic. You know
Yeah.
what I'm
Nice like this.
saying?
Nice like this.
Right. Don't you wish you
And
here now?
it,
Here's the equivalent. Yeah, here's the equivalent to "Ain't Nobody Coming to See You," Otis, from the Five Heartbeats. Don't you wish you could be me? What does it feel to be me? You know what I'm saying?
Lord have mercy. But Leon, I was watching a video a couple of weeks ago, didn't even realize we were going to do this movie, but he said that the cast didn't really like him that much. Like
Really?
after he was like, no one, he's like, I think that's why they ain't really talk to me. He said, and I'm paraphrasing, he said something like that when he was like, ain't nobody coming to see you. He said they didn't like that, but they left it in. And then that other part where he
What?
challenged him. Yeah. He said that the cast wasn't really feeling him like that. But Leon seems like he has that presence though. Like he don't care.
Yeah.
He gonna be him and say what he say. And sometimes
Right.
people can rock with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When somebody is truly
Absolutely.
confident. He seems
Yeah.
like he's extremely confident.
Yeah, and I think he's a great actor, like you were saying, and he's someone that understands his craft. So
Mm-hmm.
he's gonna, if he sees something, if he thinks something flows with a particular character,
Yeah,
he
he's gonna
seems
go.
like he did with that line, he's
Yeah,
gonna add that to it because he felt like something that would add to the character of David Ruffin. It's
yeah,
like he probably thought that was something that David Ruffins would have done
yeah,
if it
yeah,
was in there. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
And some actors and actresses, they don't like it if well, the script says you got to do this, and the
Yeah.
script, we're supposed to be here, and you're not supposed to go off script and there and everything like that.
Yeah.
But if you when you have that kind of talent that Leon has,
Yeah.
you have a certain feeling for things,
Yeah.
and like you said, not everybody vibes with that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So,
And I agree with
so
Basine to the question that you asked earlier. Playing a living person, Basine says that she
mhm.
thinks it's more challenging. I do too, because you have to get the subtleties of that person. And if people know that person and they're
Yeah,
still alive, they're going to be like, that ain't him. I think they're more critical. So you got to really nail the
yeah, yeah.
nuances of a person. When you're making up a character, you can just be free.
Yeah, I got. You just made me think of of a movie that we can do in this music genre, and that's the two movies that they did on Aretha Franklin with what's her name? Is it Cynthia
Jennifer.
Evo?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and Jennifer Hudson. They
Yeah.
both did
Yeah.
Aretha Franklin,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and the movies, and those two contrasting stories, because it was the
Because
same
Jennifer
story.
was the one that was authorized
Right.
by
Correct.
Aretha. And the
Correct.
other one that shared a little more information, she ain't authorized that
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Did yeah. It really, and I guess we can talk about that. Which version people kind of liked more than the other, or was there one that people preferred over the other one? But
one. And
yeah. But when you get into
black women and American black women and said something, a lot of people were,
yeah,
and then Aretha
yeah,
Franklin didn't, a lot of people weren't rocking with her because of that. So they
right,
weren't supporting that movie for a couple of different reasons.
yeah,
But
yeah,
then
yeah.
Jennifer
Plus,
Hudson, no, go
Plus, you
ahead.
said like you said. Now, plus, like you were saying, Aretha Franklin gave Jennifer Hudson her blessing, so
Mm-hmm,
that says a lot. You
mm-hmm,
know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm.
when the queen say you good, you
Yep,
good.
yep. And some of them parts when the queen was drunk, when Aretha
Mm,
Franklin was falling out for days and drunk. But that movie was interesting because, and then we're gonna get back
mm,
on the Temptations, because I'm gonna try to
good.
make sure we close this out in an hour. So 8:10 is when we're gonna be over, because we started at 7:10. So we're
Okay,
gonna keep it like that. Season
cool.
3,
That's
we're gonna
perfect.
come right to you. We're gonna do it just like that, an hour. Because me and Leroy can talk about movies forever, clearly. But
I know, right?
but that part where I with that movie, I wish, it was weird how it ended. And it didn't end the rest of her career like it ended in the 80s. And I wonder why. It was weird that Aretha
Well,
Franklin
but
didn't end right.
but when you think about it, how can you encapsulate Aretha Franklin's story,
Mm-hmm.
or even like we're doing a Temptation story
Mm-hmm.
in 2 hours, yet alone an hour? It's
Yeah.
just so much. Their stories are
Yeah.
so vast and so great. Like you were saying, these are I mean, the Temptations. You talk about R&B music. That's Mount Rushmore.
Man.
The Temptations.
And the dances, New Edition. Come on, New Edition took notes from the Temptations. New Any for Life, New Edition is my fave. And they took notes because Brooke Payne was not playing no games with that choreography. He liked Blue Magic. He
Mhm.
liked all
Yeah.
the different male groups. But a lot of those male groups who came out after the Temptations, we can't talk about before, but after the Temptations, a lot of that a lot of these groups, especially the ones like New Edition, who dress, who have sharp lines in their turns, who don't play no games about being late, showing up, that professionalism that New Edition has. Come on now, the Temptations.
But but but
I'm for life, but I got to give credit where credit is due. And then the groups
but
that came
but
after New Edition, they started patting themselves after New Edition, who saw the
right.
Temptations.
But that's what it is. The Temptations were probably, if you will, the father or grandfather,
Mm-hmm.
and New Edition was the was were they were the sons of them,
Now they the
because all
grandfathers.
the right. Well, no, what they are the fathers
Yeah.
of the next generation.
Yeah.
But the thing about the Temptations, and I love this, is the one thing that I always say about them, was like you talked about that mic. No matter what they did, all of the dance moves
Mm-hmm.
that they did, they always came back to
Back
that
to the
one
mic.
mic.
They came back.
Back to that.
They came back.
They,
Where my mic at? Hold up, hold up, hold up. I got my mic. Hold up. I got my mic. Hold up. They be right here. They be right back. And they do that dance
yep,
right back.
right back to the
Right
mic.
back.
It
Right back.
it was, and that goes to, like you were saying, just the professionalism, the choreography.
Yes.
And they protected each other too, like you were saying about the one scene
Yes.
with I forgot
Eddie.
which one
It
was
was
drunk.
Eddie. It was
Yeah,
Eddie and Paul Williams. And Eddie was like, if Paul goes, I go. And he was really holding
right,
his brother up. Like he did not want him to miss
right,
his shot. And even when Otis in the movie went to go see Paul, first they had the little
hmm,
intervention where at the house, Paul got super wasted. And they were like, Paul was the
hmm,
one that never took a drink. And it
yeah,
reminded me
yep,
of Tony Thompson from High Five, the group, where when I
okay,
saw their unsung back in the day, they were saying he was the one that stayed away from, drugs and alcohol. Like he stayed
but
away from all of that, but then he ended up dying because of that. It's deep.
wow. But and here we go. We talking about those common threads. Think about your boys N.E. and Ralph Tresvant. He
Mm-hmm.
was the one
Mm-hmm.
he
It
wasn't
held them
out
together.
partying.
Yeah.
He was in the studio doing the work, working hard.
A lot of
It's
the
the stories are
yeah,
just so crazy similar
yeah,
in the common things that they had in each of the groups.
yeah.
You know,
Because
I love it.
you're dealing with the dynamics of different people. Then you have the egos, you have the skill level. You talk about skill set. You got that. Then you got the one who can really dance, the one who can really sing, the one who got the style, the one who, and that's
Right.
what makes a super group because everybody has a
Yeah.
gift that they're bringing. And E will always be forever
Yeah.
young. Basine said, you can't talk about New Edition.
I
Oh,
know,
she
right?
said Leon's daughter. She said because she said she want me to tell y'all that I interviewed Cynthia Bailey, which is Leon's
Mm.
child's mother. So thank you, Basine.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't
Cynthia
know that.
Bailey and
Okay.
Basine. Cynthia Bailey and Basine got a baby. Lord, Cynthia Bailey and, and Leon's daughter, Noelle. So she was putting
Okay.
her. I had the opportunity to sit down and speak to Cynthia Bailey. All right, let's do some
Yeah.
trivia. Smokey Robinson is the only Motown celebrity to make an appearance as himself in the movie. Y'all know, remember he
Mm-hmm.
sang at Melvin's funeral, remember? On the movie.
Mm.
Otis Williams' ex-wife Josephine, Melvin Franklin's mother Rose, and David Ruffin's family filed a suit against Williams, Motown, and DePass Entertainment, Hallmark Entertainment, and NBC for the use of their likeness in the film. Defamation of character, emotional distress. The plaintiffs claim that they or their relatives in certain events were portrayed inaccurately. The judges ruled in the favor of the defendants. The plaintiffs appealed, but the original ruling was upheld. Otis Williams later stated that while his book was the source of the material for the film, he didn't have control over making the film. So Otis Williams' ex-wife was like, nope. Melvin Franklin's mother, Rose, was like, nope. David Ruffin's family was like, nope. But it's interesting talking about that, and I'm gonna go back to the trivia. Otis Williams had his book, and everybody has their side of the story. But then when they
Mm-hmm.
did the movie, he didn't have control over the movie. So you
Right.
know what
Right.
happens with creative liberty. They add a little
Right.
extra. So I
Right.
wonder if their families and his ex-wife and all of that, who was played by Gina Rivera in the movie, I wonder how that played out and if they were mad at Otis because, like he said, I ain't got nothing to do with it.
Well, but see, here's the thing about that. I guess when it comes to those stories, there's gonna be, that's just like you talked about the Aretha Franklin story,
Mm-hmm,
the official one and then the unofficial one. How do I'm sure studios have to get certain clearance
mm-hmm,
on being able to do movies like that when you're talking about a real life person, because you can't just go out there arbitrarily, putting a story out about a famous person and everything like
mm-hmm,
that. So, and you said that I guess the defendants, which would be the studio, they,
mm-hmm,
or Otis Otis and the
mm-hmm.
others that were on that side, they evidently had something. They did everything
Yeah,
right
yeah,
because they won the lawsuit. If they
yeah,
had done what they were alleging, then
yeah,
the other party, the plaintiffs would have won that lawsuit of the
yeah,
defamation of character.
yeah.
And you do have to be very careful, because I even tell like my authors when they're writing their life story, I said you got to be careful of the different people that you're talking about,
Change the name.
because you will have some family members who
Mm-hmm.
will come back and be like, and try to sue you. I said
That's why you
so
got to do the
they
likely likeness, but you can't really
mhm.
say because like you said, people will come back.
Yeah, and if you change the names, that's true. I said, you change people's name. I said because only folks who will know the story will know who you're
They
actually
said
really
change the
talking
name to
about or whatever.
protect the guilty.
Right. And no, but you put that, if you put that in the front of the book as a disclaimer, that names, because you'll see it at the beginning of the movies. The
Yeah.
names and characters have been changed to protect
Mm-hmm.
the folks or whatever and stuff like that. So, but people get mad when you do tell their story,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like you were talking about. Aretha Franklin ain't like people talk about her being drunk, but that's real. That was a part of your
And
life and
about
who you were.
what her apparently the father was supposed to be and that was in the
He was
unauthorized one.
correct,
That was in the
correct.
unauthorized.
And no, that was in the unauthorized one, but she had always protected her father. So
It
I'm I'm like, it's that gets deep when you talk about telling life stories like the
it
Temptations,
gets real
like
deep.
Aretha Franklin. It gets real deep because those are some stories that folks don't necessarily want that stuff to come to light.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? We don't want
yeah.
those, especially when you talk about family. You know how we black
Family
families do. We
secrets.
want to sweep stuff under the rug. We don't
Family
talk
secrets.
about that.
Nope.
Yeah, family secrets. You know what I'm
Nope.
saying? So
Nope.
so
It gets
yeah, I
deep.
mean, and them folks didn't like. I'm sure Otis and the studios telling that part of David Ruffins,
Yeah.
you know,
And
or and even Paul, the
yeah.
issues that he had,
Well, let's
you
talk
know.
about that. You just led me to that. We in sync because let me give you some
Hmm.
interesting trivia that I saw about Paul. So Paul's
Hmm.
decline in the movie in the film was attributed to alcoholism, right? But in
Hmm.
reality, William suffered from sickle cell anemia and continually refused to see doctors. He used
Hmm.
alcohol to cope with his pains, but eventually became
Right.
too weak. There is a scene depicting his sickle cell. So, and then what he did, in the car. So now Melvin Franklin, more trivia, passed away in 1995, 3 years prior to the release of this film. So he never even saw it. He
Hmm.
passed away after collapsing into a coma from numerous seizures, which were brought on by his compromised immune system. So in the movie, he passed away. Remember, he willed himself in the kitchen
Hmm.
to go get the
Hmm.
food. Man, I cried like a
Right.
baby. I cried
Yeah.
like a baby
Yeah.
when they was like, "Come on out here." Jennifer Lewis, remember, she was like, "Come on out here.
Hmm.
You need to come." And they went in and seen that man.
Hmm.
That was sad. That was
Yes.
sad. Like
Yeah.
so many parts. What else? Other trivia, and then Basine gonna come on. Let's see. David Ruffin, Jimmy Ruffin, David Ruffin's older brother, almost became the fifth member of the Temptations. Jimmy was but he was a poor dancer and did not make the roster due to Otis Williams describes as bad feet. They said Jimmy Ruffin had bad feet. He couldn't be in there. You can't be in the Temptations with no bad feet.
Not at all. Not at all. Hey, that's the first criteria. Ain't no need you trying to sing if you can't put the steps together.
That
You can
ain't
sing
gonna
your butt off.
work.
You could be the baddest singer in the world, but you can't get them steps together. We can't. We don't need you.
That is hilarious. You can't get them bad feet together, like you said. We don't need you. But they're talking about the thing with Melvin. Also, Melvin did not die in a wheelchair at his mother's home, but we talked about that. What that happened, and some of the cast members Some of the cast members did their own singing for their characters. Leon, however, did not provide the voice of David Ruffin. We know he was
Not
one of
at
the
all.
ones that couldn't sing. His singing was done by, shout out to Lewis Price. Let's give Lewis Price, whoever he is, a hand. Lewis Price. Lewis Price, a former member of the Temptations who sang with them in the 70s. The only time Leon's singing voice can be heard, it was a scene where Otis and Melvin visit David's apartment. Remember, he was like trying to taunt him and warn him about that. That he made that part up too, and I think that's when they didn't like him anymore. All right, we give another trivia. The purple and white outfits that the group wore at the end of the film were one of the many outfits worn by the actual Temptations. They were the real outfits. In the book, Otis Williams expressed that he was very skeptical about wearing purple because he thought he was too dark skinned for it to look good. Now that was that back in that generation. Like now you wear any colors, it don't matter.
I know, right? They don't care.
Then they ain't wear white after Labor Day. They wasn't wear if you was too light, too dark, too this, too that. Let's see. So executive producer Suzanne DePass had scored a similar success 6 years earlier. We got to talk about this with another TV miniseries about a popular singing group called the Jacksons, An American Dream. That's another one.
Yep.
That's another one.
All right. We gotta conclude. They gotta be on our list. We gotta do the Jackson 5.
Then we might
we gotta do the Jackson 5. We gotta add them in this. Yeah, we gotta add them in there with because there's no, and you want to talk about the Temptations started off, then you had the Jackson 5, then you had New Edition.
Yep. So let's do all right. So next week we're doing the American Dream, the Jacksons movie. We're gonna do that. I don't want you. I don't want you. I don't want you. You a liar. You a cheater, and I don't want you. Woo! Man, oh man. We about to do that when Joe know he had an outside baby. Lord have mercy. But anything you want to say before about the movie before we bring Basine on? She gonna do her couple minutes at the end and we're gonna be out. We're gonna try to stick to this time.
No, I think that, like we said, the Temptations have got to be the Mount Rushmore of singing groups that we all know. They cross, like we said, at least 2 to 3 generations, maybe, like you said, even 4 generations of people, and there's these groups these days, they ain't even gonna last 1 generation. You know what I'm saying?
You ain't lying. Somebody step on somebody's shoe. Look, somebody step on somebody's shoe. They be like, I don't have to deal with this.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I just men. Yeah, but the Temptations. You think about their catalog, man. It's just the song. You could still those songs that they wrote back even in the '60s are still better than a lot of the songs that we hear today on the radio. You play them songs and they still have the same kind of power, same kind of, just goodness and everything else behind them and everything like that. So, Temptations are it. So that's all I gotta
Temptations
say.
are it. And that's good. That's good too. That's a shoot. We gotta have Basine, but that would have been a good way to end. Temptations are it. But I want to say one thing before I bring Basine on. What about in the beginning? When the member was like, forget this, it's taking too long. What about when people leave something right before their blessing? When it ain't taken, when it's not, because even there was an original member in the Temptations that started that they wanted to leave. You think about all the groups. There was one in Boys to Men even before Michael left that didn't go all the way through. There was some in TLC. There's a lot of groups where people didn't make it to the pinnacle of their success because they wanted that blessing to come right away. And God was waiting, and then they looking like, even with Vanessa Bell Calloway in the movie, the first manager, when she stole all their money to buy the car, she just bought him a car. She had all the money. When they made it big, she was looking on the TV like,
Yep.
All right, so we got our favorite viewer, our fan of More Than Just a Movie, and she's going to come give about 3-4 minutes to sum up what she thinks about the Temptation movie.
Temptations.
All right, Basine. Welcome to season.
Hey there. First of all, I need y'all to like, share, subscribe. Because MT Jams,
I know, right? That's right.
Is now jamming on the one. In season 3, they are jamming on the one.
Yeah.
And they jamming with music, coming in strong.
and Basine, please tell me where you got that shirt. Please tell the people where you got that shirt.
You can find this at Living True, Living You, Kendéll Lenice. Original. She's the original. And I'm gonna need 10 minutes at the end of the show, because all this that y'all was saying, I had a whole lot to say. Couldn't even write it down because I was eating dinner.
But before we get started, can you also tell our audience who we're going to see in October, please?
Stephanie Mills.
And who else?
We're going to see Stephanie Mills. Is it Will Downey?
Yes.
Oh, my man. I lied to y'all not. The best concert I ever went to was Frankie Beverly and Mays. Second best concert that I've ever gone to and I've seen him twice, was Will Downey. That's my absolute. I know Luther's here.
Well, I have an autographed CD from Will Downey. I can't remember what year I got it though, but F Street had a Kent Mill Records. That's how long ago it was. Kent Mill is out of business now, but I got an autographed CD for my husband because my husband turned me on to jazz music.
Well, I can tell you, I love Will Downing, and I've been to a lot of concerts, but I've never seen him live. So this is going to be my first time. I'm a Will Downing.
This will be my first time. But my story of Stephanie Mills is that I saw her as a little girl. I don't think I was 10 years old yet, at Fort DuPont Park in DC. And because I was such a little girl and slender girl, I got to be put on a man's shoulders so that I could see her up close and personal.
She's little, so you got to be on somebody's shoulder to see her little itty bitty self. Stephanie Mills. All right, so as quick as you can, because we're trying to keep it short, and I know what should have brought you on earlier.
Yeah, I need 15 minutes at the end. Give me 15 minutes from now on. 15 minutes.
Okay, but we can't.
Let me start by saying
we can't do 15 today, but we're going.
I know we can't today. I just said it. I said in the future. In the future. Let me get this down. First, let me say Temptations are the grandfathers. The Jackson Fives are the fathers, and New Edition are the boys. All other groups after New Edition are just carbon copies.
I told you.
New Edition might be the uncles. They might be the uncles now to the young.
No, excuse me. They will forever be young. When you listen to New Edition, you go back to the age when you first heard them, okay? And I think for the Temptation era, it's the same. When you hear the Temptations music, it takes you back to when you was cleaning your mama's house, doing the vacuuming, listening to My Girl. Now, my favorite part of the movie, exactly. My favorite part of the movie is when Leon's character is singing to the woman in the audience. Beauty's only skin deep. That's my favorite part of the movie. So I'm definitely gonna go back and listen to those lyrics, like you said, Kendéll.
Yeah.
Because
me too.
I really think even now, boys can look back at not only New Edition and the Jackson 5, but still the Temptations to know how to be a gentleman.
When I tell you, Kendéll, I told you that's where we got our how to talk to a girl from. Was listening to them lyrics. Them lyrics got you that girl that you wanted in high school. I'm telling you.
Look, I don't even, you know what? I'm not, the guys was like, I don't know if I condone the smoking, but I'm gonna light your cigarette if you smoke.
If you smoke.
I'm gonna treat you like a lady. Even if you got cigarette breath, I'm gonna treat you like a lady.
And remember, that's how New Edition movie started off too, where Ralph and Ricky call themselves trying to serenade to get the girl.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Thank y'all for my 2 minutes.
I love it.
All those who are watching, please like, share, and subscribe. Because you can always look back. You ain't got to be on the live show.
Yep. And where can they watch, for those that might have been under a rock and under several rocks? Where can they go watch if they haven't watched the Temptation movie? Because you should be able. Is it on like Roku or Netflix or something like that?
It's on Tubi TV, and thank you for that. It's on Tubi TV and it's free. So all you have to do is download the Tubi TV app. It's free, and you can watch the movie for free.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely watching that series is definitely worth watching that series. It's a great
And
series.
Watching MT Jams is definitely worth the jam.
And go to the MT Jam More Than Just a Movie playlist, and you'll see all the past ones. Basing, do you want to say anything else about the movie? Because I don't want to feel like I'm just, you can say
no. Something. I said my favorite scene. I'm good. My favorite scene is Leon serenading the lady and Beauty's only skin deep. That's my favorite part.
Those lyrics and listen to The Way You Do the Thing You Do lyrics. Those lyrics are so brilliant. How they say, you could have been some perfume, and I can tell the way you do. Just listen to those or read those lyrics and how cute and clever they are. Just read those. So it's because I as a writer, I love lyrics. I love words and how people decide to string them. And it's like, wow, okay. You could have been some perfume because you smell so sweet. Like you could have been a broom the way you swept me off my feet. Like, come
on, what? I'm saying for these young boys out here, I'm telling you, if you want some real game, listen to the Temptations. Listen to the Temptations. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
And you ain't gotta be all that cute, but you may get the girl too.
Yes, sir. Indeed.
I'm gonna end with some lyrics, and hopefully I'll be able to do that. Let's see. Okay.
You got 1 minute.
Thank you. All right. The way you do the things you do. You got a smile so bright. You could have been a candle. I'm holding you so tight. You could have been a handle. The way you swept me off my feet. You could have been a broom. And baby, you smell so sweet. You could have been some perfume. Well, you could have been anything that you wanted to, but I can tell the way you do the things you do. I like the way you do the things you do. Next verse. As pretty as you are, you could have been a flower. If good looks were minutes, honey, you could have been an hour.
Whole hour.
The way you stole my heart, you could have been
a cool crook.
Baby, you're so smart. You could have been a school book. What? Well, you could have.
No, did Smokey Robinson write that song? Who wrote that song? Does it say who wrote it?
He was a co-writer, William Robinson Jr. He was a co-writer along with Robert Rogers. I'm gonna read one more. But that's basically what it is, and this you could have do the things you do. But come on now, you baby, you're so smart. You could have been a school book. What? Man, oh man, Smokey. Let's shout out to Smokey Robinson for writing a lot of hits.
Absolutely.
Smokey Robinson. We cannot.
Should have been my daddy. Great. He should have been my daddy.
He looks really great too. He looks really, really, really good now.
Man, so. And shout out to him and Barry, Gordy Berry. Remember they had that on Fresh Prince. He was Gordy Berry. Barry Gordy and Smokey Robinson are still best friends to this day. All right, if you have not seen the Temptations movie miniseries, check it out on wherever. Just Google it. Get the app that I told you about. And
it may even be on YouTube.
It may.
Right. Yeah, it might be.
You want to say anything? Then Basine can close it out, and then that's it.
Like, subscribe, share, and what's your favorite Temptation song? Y'all can put that in the comment section there. What's your favorite Temptation song?
Love that.
Find a silent night. Holy
that Christmas album is
that's how I'm gonna end. That's gonna be Donny Hathaway and Temptations. No,
don't forget about Nat King Cole.
Let's say Temptations, Donny Hathaway, New Edition. All time favorite. Huh?
No, I was going to say I thought you were talking about Christmas songs. I was going to say don't forget about Nat King Cole. His Christmas album too.
Nat King Cole before my time.
You never heard of the Christmas songs by Nat King Cole?
I don't listen to a lot of Nat King Cole. That's before my time. It's the
Christmas song.
It's Temptations, Donny Hathaway, and New Edition.
New Edition's Christmas songs is good.
I do have some whisper stuff. The whispers.
You know who got a good Christmas album? Anthony Hamilton. We ain't gonna talk about that.
Yes, I love it. I love his Christmas album. It is not like a Christmas album at all. You can listen to that
watching MT Jams. See what you find out. So informative.
You can listen to that album all year round.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah,
and you know what? He did a version of one of my favorite Christmas songs by James Brown. Santa Claus Goes Straight to the Ghetto. He remade that. That on there. I love it.
That's good. And I gotta shout out my girl Shantae Moore. Her Christmas album is bomb too.
Yes, absolutely. Bomb. Yep.
All right. Thank you so much for tuning in to MT Jams, where we break down classic Black films. This is More Than Just a Movie. If you have not watched us yet, go to the More Than Just a Movie playlist and watch us talk about your favorite movie. If this is your first time watching, I hope you run to YouTube if you're not watching on right now and subscribe to my channel. We're trying to do big things with this show and the rest of my shows on this channel. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, you are a star, so don't allow anyone to dim your shine. Definitely support classic Black films. We watching them and you watching us talk about them. That's what's up. Thank you so much for watching. God bless y'all. Peace.